So I am very delighted to welcome the new guests from Iceland, Eydís Mari and Petra Holmgrimsdottir.
Yay!
Yeah, I pronounced it perfectly. And I'm Flemming Jensen, and I'm here in Norway to follow the case in the Supreme Court, interviewing a lot of people. Now we're going to talk about something interesting, what's happening in Iceland. And if you notice, just behind you, there's a Norwegian flag. And on top of that, there is the Icelandic flag. You see that? Just say yo.
Yes.
Just say yes, because I put it in the editing.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes. Good. Yeah.
You're thinking, there's no flag.
No, I was like, what? Where can see it in the picture?
There's only this on the wallpaper. Mot normal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. So, let's get started. But intro first.
And it's just around the corner.
I am sitting here with the two major Icelandic apostates. Almost, because we couldn't call you directly an ex-Jehovah's Witness apostate.
No.
No, because Petra here, she hasn't any background in Jehovah's Witnesses, but you all know that Eydís has.
I'm not an apostate.
Are you not
I
an
never
apostate?
baptized. So you can't really call me an apostate.
No, but still, you has been in contact with Jehovah's Witnesses.
I consider myself an ex-JW kid, but I was never a JW.
Okay.
Formally.
Formally. We are going to dive into this. So, you have to tell about what's going on in the JW community or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses community in Iceland. You created a kind of an organization.
Yeah, so the ex-JWs in Iceland, we have been talking, we've been meeting, and we figured out that we needed something official. We needed something that we could use to, for example, contact the government with. And you can't really do that if you're just individual. So we founded an organization called... what's it called?
What's it called in English?
Yeah. So,
Association of people interested in religious abuse.
Yes.
Maybe. Yeah, in English.
And there are many religious communities besides Jehovah's Witnesses in Iceland.
yes.
So let's begin to talk with you, Petra. Not being at Jehovah's Witnesses. First question, how did you get to know Eydís?
Well, I think it's for Eydís to tell how we got to know each other.
Yeah, so around 5 years ago,
Yes.
I basically hit a wall and I needed therapy. I went through a few therapists and they couldn't really help me. So I was trying to find somebody who did EMDR therapy.
And what is that EMDR?
That's for...
That stands for eye movement desensitization reprocessing therapy. It's not easy to pronounce, but it's basically trauma therapy.
So it's a special kind of psychological help for people who have been religious communities.
It's just for all trauma. It's
Okay.
So I was, back then I had recently been diagnosed with complex PTSD and I was told that EMDR was really good for that. So I was just reading about the different therapists that I could, find. And on her profile, it says religious abuse. And it was like, I think I need that. So I contacted her and she became my therapist.
Yeah, that's how we got to know each other. And she's been an excellent client. She's had really good progress and good healing. And we just developed this same passion for making a difference in our community.
So actually, you are a psychologist.
Yes.
And then you actually became more or less friends now.
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yes, it's not a common development.
No.
But she has great passion and she makes things happen. And she wanted me to be with her in doing something. And, so I was not coercing her to do anything because that would have been highly unethical.
So, beside being a psychologist, do you have any specialties in knowing religious high control groups in your work beside Eydís?
Yes, like we've been talking about, it's one of my specialties is helping people that have gone through religious abuse or experienced that kind of abuse. And it all started with me leaving a high control group myself. So when I was 16, I joined a like evangelical, charismatic, Bible-based group and stayed there for about 11 years. So when I left, I experienced feeling alone, a lot of shame, and just not knowing how to go about life. Like, what were my beliefs? What were my opinions? What are the new rules to live by? So when I was almost 30 years old and had 3 kids and a husband, and I was like, I don't know how to form opinions about anything. So that's how I got into it. I first became a teacher. After I left that church, I started to learn how to be a psychologist, like I always wanted to be. And my undergrad study, as well as my master's study, was on high control groups and coercive control within fundamental belief systems.
So, did you know anything especially about Jehovah's Witnesses at that time?
No, not more than any other groups. Of course, they were really bad and we should not associate with them because they did not believe like I believed. They had it all wrong. Like high control groups tend to be. We are
the truth.
Yes,
actually.
we are the truth, and our truth is better than your truth. So
it doesn't matter if it's evangelical, if it's a Pentecostal, if it's a Mormon. It's the same patterns, no matter what kind of high control group you're talking about.
Yes.
So how did you get to know Petra? And she has this specialty in high control groups. Did you search in the internet? Or?
Yeah, so I was just searching for EMDR therapists, and there's one company that's called the EMDR Stofan in Icelandic.
EMDR clinic.
Yeah, clinic. And they list, I think they have like 20 different specialists that do EMDR. So I just read through the whole list.
And you have tried other therapists not using this EMDR, and it didn't really help so much?
None of them knew or understood the foundation that I had that was based on being a JW. It was just all wrong, and they couldn't see it. They couldn't help me with that. They could help me with many other things. So I would just like to encourage people with our background, if they are seeking therapy, to find somebody that knows about religious abuse, because I don't believe that other therapists can help us in a way that therapists with this knowledge can.
And Petra, can you tell just a common person like me, because I never heard about this, what makes EMDR different from other ways of treatment?
Okay, so let's try to make the answer a little bit short, because it is a bit of a long answer. So we can talk about things until we're blue in the face, and it doesn't change how we are feeling. It doesn't change our emotions, because we know in our developed brain, we know within our conscious thinking, like, this was not my fault, I know I should not feel this way, I know I don't have to be ashamed, etc., etc. But talking about our difficulties doesn't really change our nervous system. But that's what EMDR therapy does. Within the specialized protocol, we access the different memory networks that are still bothering us many, many years later. So it's often, like I said, it's a protocol. It has 8 phases or 8 steps, and the main step, what people, look at is like, follow the finger. But it's not like just follow the finger. You have to access the different memory networks with what's the negative cognition, how are you feeling in your body, and what is the goal with reprocessing that memory. And we never know where our memory networks go, how the brain has connected different memories and different emotions. And that's what makes religious abuse so complex, because as children or young people, our brain is developing, and our character and our beliefs are about the world, about the self, and who we are within the community. So it affects in so many different layers. And EMDR therapy, when we access those layers, we can resolve the emotional discomfort, the bodily discomfort that comes with the memory.
Interesting. And I know that you also talked about a little bit yesterday, Eydís, there's some practical things you can do, something you did with your hand. If you are feeling down or you have too many thoughts about your past, you can do something practical, just one technique.
Yeah, so, we were discussing yesterday, sometimes before, especially, I would maybe have panic attacks and I didn't know how to just figure them out or go through them. If I, now I try to be very aware of my body. I can kind of feel, sometimes if I'm triggered, I can kind of feel it in my brain. I can feel it, in my nervous system, on the skin and everything. And I basically can feel when my frontal lobe just disconnects. And when that happens, sometimes I do tapping, just slow tapping, and try to
tapping your
just on my. I can do it maybe like this. It has to be on either side of the body.
Yeah, that bilateral movement.
Yeah, so I can either do it like this or on my thighs. I usually do it on my thighs, but you can't see it. Or if I don't do that, maybe I can try to focus on something that's around me, try to count something, try to do something mathematic, just to reinstate my frontal lobe, and then I can think rationally. I also talked to you yesterday that I basically have many selves. So, sometimes maybe a 10-year-old might, be in control, and then, I would act more like she and rationalize like a 10-year-old. So, and if I notice that happening, then I just have to make a switch. And that's, there are techniques that Petra can teach, or people with her knowledge, that can just help you stay in contact, basically, with the person that you are today, not the persons that you were when you were having your traumas that are being triggered.
Did you use that technique when you were talking with Kåre Sitterhaug yesterday?
No.
And saying he's a member of the... It's interesting.
It doesn't trigger anything.
No, and that's interesting, because if you have these sometimes, seldomly, panic attacks, and you're going back to Eydís, 10-year-old, how can you be so strong and direct, talking with some of the Jehovah's Witnesses, top people, without being nervous about it?
The only two Jehovah's Witnesses really that I've approached now the last few years, they have been the spokespersons for the JWs in Scandinavia. I think they are the right people to approach with these things. I would never approach a regular JW. No. I don't really see the point, but they know everything. They are trying to defend something that's indefensible, really, and they know it. If you go and talk to them, they don't give you any answers because they don't have it. They just try to blur the lines in a way. They haven't given me a reason to respect them. I have no reason to be afraid of them. I know I'm perfectly safe. And I think if you have complex PTSD, you need to find your safe space. And from them, I have no fear. Because, like I told you yesterday, they have taken everything that they can from me. There's nothing more they can take. I don't have to be afraid. I can go and talk with them like a normal person. If a normal person would approach me with a lie, like they did yesterday and last year and the year before, you can go and talk to them, and you can go say, hey, this isn't right, and maybe have a discussion. Why can't I go to them and say, hey, you just lied?
But what I mean is that, as you said before, as a person, as a human being, you can have many sides of yourself.
Yeah.
So one side of you is very courageous, and you dare to approach them.
Yeah.
And then another side could be Eydís 10-year-old. Sometimes you can have a panic attack.
Yeah. So to explain maybe further, we have in our language, a part of me wants to go to the movie, another parts of me wants to stay home and have a cozy time. So, and we have that also in Icelandic, a part of me wants to do different things. I might want to go to the gym, but I also might just want to grab a chocolate bar. So they're just those different neural networks that are taken over. Some people describe the brain like an apartment, and in the apartment there is a throne, and who is sitting on the throne at the moment. So the different parts of us, those different neural networks that hold those memories that are traumatic, when we make that switch to those networks, when something has been triggering, those neural networks that don't know that the trauma is over, they might step forward. So there's something within the brain that doesn't know that I don't have to be afraid 10-year-old, or I don't have to be afraid of that man, or I don't have to be afraid of dogs because once a dog bit me.
Or don't be afraid of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes. Yeah, because in her adult brain, in her frontal lobe, she knows that the Jehovah's Witnesses can't do anything to her. But if she would meet someone that she knew as a child, she might react differently.
So basically what Petra has been helping me to do is kind of like get all the different parts of me together and let them know that, we are 45 or 44, and update them on the situation, and that this here, me, I'm in control. I can keep us protected. There's no need to be afraid anymore. So yeah, so she's been kind of just letting all of my parts know about that and using the EMDR as a method to do that.
So good. So you actually can say now it has helped you so much. So the panic attack longer and longer between them, and you can cope with it in your daily life using EMDR?
Mostly I control it. I'm a person like everybody else. I have, my moods and stuff like that, but it's not something that affects my life like it did before. I can tell you a story about like one part. I think it's kind of funny and maybe relevant for the JW. So I was kind of like, I had mixed feelings about Christmas and birthdays and stuff like that. So there was always like this conflict, like, my, adult self was like, hey, of course we should have, we have to blow the candles. We can give the gifts and all of that. And it's fine. It's safe. But there was always this little JW girl inside. It was like, no, don't blow the candle. We're going to die. And like, it was like every time, like I would put a birthday candle in front of my kids. I would be smiling and singing, but inside there was this one part that was like, don't do this. And, still I did it, but there was this conflict inside. So it was always a bit uncomfortable, like doing it, but I did it anyways. So I talked to Petra about it, and she kind of just, brought this part of me out. And we did the EMDR, and like for a week afterwards, I would go on these walks just by myself. And like in my mind, I was just taking this little girl by the hand, and we would take a walk together somewhere in nature or something. And I would just remind her again and again, like, the Bible isn't true. Like, it's just an old book full of like all kinds of things, but like it doesn't apply to us today. Everything the JW taught you when you were a kid was a lie. It wasn't your fault. They shouldn't have done it. It wasn't right. They were lying. Why can't you enjoy a cake with a candle on it. There's nothing wrong with it. Like, so I would just go through all these things, like, and tell her kind of like again and again. Like, I could feel like during one of the walks, like a feeling of release. Like I was suddenly just taller. I just felt calm. And we just walked home together and we blew a candle off a cake. And I mean, I haven't felt this feeling since. It was just gone. She knew that it was okay. And now she's just enjoying it.
That's good. Good to hear. It's a good advice because there are so many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses. How can I go on with my life? What helps? And it sounds like, for you at least, EMDR is a big help. Okay. So you get to know each other more than just a normal client and psychologist. And you attend ECSA.
Yeah, ECSA.
Together.
Yeah.
ECSA. Tell us a little bit more about what is ECSA.
ICSA stands for International Cultic Studies Association, which is, like the name says, international place for people, whether it's professionals or people that have been in high controlling groups, to come together, and they hold an annual conference. And Eydís and I, we attended together 2 years ago. Yes.
Has it something to do with Stephen Hassan?
Stephen Hassan is a part.
Stephen Hassan, he's a part of it.
He is a part of, this association.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Are you planning on maybe inviting him or ECSA to make it in Iceland also?
That would be awesome. If
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, if that would come true. Because, Iceland is in the middle between North America and Europe. So hopefully it would be a...
So what's going on in ECSA? Is it just a lot of speeches and people sharing their experiences, talking maybe about EMDR, or what can you get out of it?
The annual conference it's similar to what we are experiencing here with the XJWs coming together from different nations and sharing this shared past and experiences and educating each other, doing podcasts with you, having that community that understands what you're going through. So ICSA would be like that in a much larger scale. It does have workshops and teachings, educational presentations. There are presentations about books people have written. There are presentations about survivors. It's on a large scale, and hundreds come every year.
Is it also like they specifically talk, for example, on Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons or evangelical? You say, now we have a speech about the Jehovah's Witnesses.
There has been, but mainly it's not focusing on a special group, because the repercussions of having been in a high demand or high controlling group, they are so similar between different groups. So it's not, the Jehovah's Witnesses, they are the worst, or the Mormons, they are the worst, because the shared experience of not being able to control your own will, that you have to abide to some rules. And I think all of those groups say, of course you can, make a choice for yourself, but the choice is still conditional, because if you don't adhere to the unwritten rules, with a group, then you will slowly fade out, because then you're more of an out group, because you're not completely on our side. And that is what is so damaging, because whether people experience homosexual thoughts, which are so often frowned upon, then people hide inside and don't tell anyone about it because it's not accepted within the group. Not to mention any specific names, but most of those high controlling groups. And some become more liberal and say, of course you can be a homosexual, we accept homosexuals, but you just can't practice, you can't have sex, because that's sin.
And you are the problem.
Yeah.
They are good at reminding people, it's my own fault. And that's the same pattern as we talked about in the beginning.
Yes. and that's one thing that I so often say is that within those groups, if something good happens, it's because of higher power, because of God, because of Jehovah. But if something bad happens, it's always your fault.
Yeah.
So you as a person, you can never win. It's always a lose-lose situation. And that damages the self because I can never be good enough. That's a solid foundation of future problems.
And then you came back to Iceland and you came up with a splendid idea. Why not make a new organization with the aim to help people in Iceland who has been in the claws of high control groups? Or what was the background story?
Yeah,
Eydís?
I mean, it kind of started a little bit before that.
Yes.
When I mean, it's thanks to Jörgen Pettersson, my dear friend.
Your
So he
hugging bear.
sparked the creation.
Yes.
I really want to give him credits. Like I can't thank him enough.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you,
Best friend.
Jörgen. So I mean, he wrote a letter in the Icelandic newspaper, and I had to answer it, which kind of sparked me going out of the closet as an XJW kid. And after that, we were just, the group that we have in Iceland. We really wanted to approach the ministries, the children protective services, and, just educate the system about what was going on. And at the same time, they were revisiting the laws on religious groups in Iceland, and they wanted to change it. And one of the changes they were proposing was to lower the age of children when they can choose their own faith, and they wanted to lower it to 14 because that's confirmation age. And in our mind, it's really dangerous for kids, for example, young JW kids, to have that power.
So it's going the wrong way. They want to lower it.
They wanted to lower it from 16 to 14.
Instead of saying at least 18.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we wrote a letter, and then we could really feel that like it would be really good to have an association to be able to lobby these things within the system. So then that's when we founded the organization. We wrote a very nice letter to the Icelandic Parliament. They didn't lower the age. So, but they didn't raise it either, but I think that will come later. So, I mean, we had some impact, I hope, there. And that letter is forever. And so
This organization you just formed, is it a press on the politicians to change their laws, for example, lowering the age? Or is it also giving general help for people coming from cults?
that's kind of what we're deciding now.
Yes.
What we want to do. Like, we need something, as a front. Some official front. But what we want to do next, maybe the next steps are to get funding from the Icelandic government to run the organization properly so that we can give help to people that need it. And I mean, Petra, she's getting asked multiple times a month.
Yes. And sadly, my service is not funded by the government. So anyone that comes to me has to pay out of pocket. And not anyone can do that because so often those people, they are broken. They might have fallen out of the job market. They might be unemployed, on a long-term sick leave, or just on the verge of going on a sick leave because they are just trying to hold everything together. And if I slow down, everything will collapse. So our dream is to get some funding so we can assist people, whether it's individual sessions or group sessions or however we can help people.
So there's a great need for association like yours. You don't have anything like this in Iceland already? No.
There are groups that help survivors of abuse, but like Eydís said, so often therapists don't understand what is the need. Like Eydís said, she had been through several psychologists. Myself, when I was going through my own healing, I also went through several psychologists and getting my help. And one even said, well, I don't really understand why it is bothering you. Isn't it just like stop believing in Santa Claus?
That was a comfort, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, you that psychologist helped me in many, many ways. But those kind of sentences or questions, they minimize the internal pain, because, of course, I can only speak from my experience, but I see it in so many others, is that everything within you is just screaming. You're being tormented by internal pain every single day, almost every moment of the day. And when people, as an adult, leave high control groups, they don't have adult self to go back to. They have to reinvent their whole adult self. So if a person is 25 and joins a group they believe is good for them, and then like in 5 or 10 years they're like, no, it really isn't, they can leave and they have an adult self to go back to. Young people and children being brought up in those groups, they don't have that. So they have to learn everything. Like, what's my music taste? What are my beliefs about sex? What are my beliefs about alcohol drinking?
What are my beliefs about blowing the candles for a birthday cake?
Yes.
It's true.
So everything that has been indoctrinated, they have this internal conflict about. So
because before, if you went out, what is right, what is wrong, you just look up in the Watchtower index. Oh, there it is. Mm-hmm. It's true. I remember for myself when I left Jehovah's Witnesses and I wanted to start at education, like high school, in the age of 28. I was pretty old in that class, but no matter what. And I was attending the first class, I think it was in philosophy or religion or whatever. And we would stand up and tell a little bit about ourselves. And I was a little nervous because I've never been with worldly people before, not like this. But I decided to open up about my past, and when they ask, why are you here? What's the reason you picked this class? And so I was just thinking about how to present it. And the guy was at my side. He was very sweet, very nice. We talked about half an hour before the teacher came in, and we had a cup of coffee and so on. So when it's his turn, just before me, he stands up and tells a little bit how he likes this philosophy, maybe. And then he ends by saying, and by the way, no big deal, but I am homosexual. And I was sitting there and I turned totally white. Where should I sit? Where should I sit? So that's my first experience with my inner self, trying to figure out, yeah, but that's what I learned. They are bad people. It's so disgusting. Jehovah hates it. And now I have to, but he's a good guy. Who am I to judge if he's have a perfect life? Well, so it takes a long time actually to get free of that chip in your brain.
Yeah.
And you have to change it consciously. Mm-hmm. It's not something that just happened. It's not like a switch that's turned when you go out. Mm-hmm. You have to really change these beliefs if you want to, just feel good in society.
And it takes time.
It takes time.
I don't know if you agree, Petra, but I heard it sounds very smart and clever and, it's probably good. But I heard one ex-Jehovah's Witness say that you have to be out of Jehovah's Witnesses as many years as you have been inside to more or less really lose free. That's true. If you've been 20 years in Jehovah's Witnesses, it takes 20 years to break free.
It does take a lot of time, and it also depends on when do you seek help. Do you get help from your fellow people, going through life? Like, do you have support from your family? But if people isolate with their pain, it does take longer. So it has not been my experience per se that it takes as many years. But I'm not going to say it's totally wrong, because I have been out for a long time, and one day I was driving to work and I was looking at the scenery, because it's a very beautiful scenery driving to work in Iceland, and the sun was rising over the mountains, far away, and the sky was pink. It was so beautiful, and I was like, oh, and then I felt this immense sadness, and I was like, whoa, where's that coming from? And when I was in the group, and I was about 19, I was working in a place that had that same scenery. And just because that beautiful scenery of nature triggered those memory networks that I was making about that exact scenery when I was in the group and that sadness came. It can be so many different things that can trigger those emotions or this inner conflict that you are not even conscious about.
That's funny because the sense, it's called muscle memory also.
Yes.
The smelling sense. Sometimes I pass a hot dog stand, and some of them are boiled hot dogs, and that smell reminds me of the conventions as a child.
Yes.
It's the same, or some ice creams, and that reminds me. Do you have it?
Yes, I have the exact same.
The smell, and then you are suddenly at the convention. Oh, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
Okay. Next subject. In Iceland, beside that you have been writing in the newspapers with your new best friend, Kåre Sætterhaug and Jørgen Petersen, has there been something recently about Jehovah's Witnesses? Are they following the case in Norway? Or
There hasn't been, other than news articles a few years back, but that was about 4 or 5 years ago when they did like a news report. To compare it to anything, it would be like 60 minutes or something like that, explaining, what is happening. And they did a few episodes on religious abuse that expanded. It got bigger than they intended to begin with because people were contacting the producer. So
not only from Jehovah's Witnesses, but
No.
also from other denominations.
Yes.
Interesting. Okay. So there is some public view on these small groups, even though Iceland is a pretty small country. How many inhabitants? 400,000, more or less? Yeah, roughly.
And last year and the year before, they did follow the case, and I'm expecting them to do the same now.
They follow this case of
Yes.
Norway.
yeah, like with a newspaper article.
Do you think, if you have to be positive, no, be realistic, that something similar could happen in Iceland if the verdict is on our side? If the state of Norway win, will that have an effect on the politicians in Iceland?
I believe so.
Yes,
It is my feeling that from talking to various people within the system in Iceland, that they are just waiting to see how it goes here in Norway, and if the states win, then I believe that the Icelandic government is going to change the law on religion in similar ways as Norway has done, and they will go the same way. I think they're just waiting to see how the Norwegian can perfect their laws to stop abusive religion getting money from the state.
Because the Nordic, of course, the Nordic countries are different, languages and so on, but in general, the culture and the politics are pretty similar.
Yes, and there's very active cooperation between the Nordic countries. I know the Nordic ministers, they always meet, I think, multiple times a year.
Nordic Council,
The Nordic councils, and also, like, if you have, like, for example, the Ministry of Children or something, in different countries, they meet, they speak. They're not just, by themselves in each country. So they know what's going on. And they follow each other very, very closely. Yes. So I think the next couple of years are going to be very positive for us.
Yes.
For us.
And your association or your new group might grow and have an effect on the politicians also. Okay, here at the end, so far you have been attending 2 days in the Supreme Court. Were there anything you were surprised about, something who's been said? Did you notice the judges, body language, whatever?
Well, to start with, I thought the lawyer for the Norwegian state, she made an excellent point on they're not attacking the freedom of beliefs. They just don't see why the government should assist groups that may damage people in the long run. And I really liked her presentation. What struck me was the lawyer, Røsdal, almost starting with quoting the Bible. And I was like, no, we are in the Supreme Court. Like, what's happening? And you could also see the judges like making faces and like asking questions. Like, isn't that just up to interpretation? Yes, there were some body languages.
I really enjoyed watching the judges, because when Liv, the state lawyer, was talking, they were like, just relax and, like doing their things and like sometimes nodding, and like they were just like normal faced. And then when Ristal was talking, one of the women, for example, she was like, no. Like you could just see that their bullshit meter just, went up.
Yeah, so, if we can interpret... how we are interpreting
that's
that.
how I saw it.
Yeah.
We are biased. We have to admit that.
I'm extremely biased,
Of course.
and I was really enjoying this. And like when he started to quote the Bible, I was also, yes, he's shitting himself. And like, and when he started to lie, and also like when he introduced Kåre as part of the governing body, like there was a part of me inside that I didn't show on the front. There was like, yes, he's blowing his case. And I really, really believe that he did.
I think also that Ryssdal was different this year. And I'm not biased. I mean it objectively. When I saw him in the courtroom in district court and last year in the appeal court, and it was completely different lawyer. He was stumbling over the words. He was calling Kåre Søderhaug a member of the governing body. Maybe it's just for fun, but it was strange to see him. He was a little, not nervous, but I don't know if I'm biased, but did you notice he was looking for something in the papers, and he was being corrected also by one of the judges asking him direct questions, and one of the questions were about the shunning thing, and he said he compared it during the COVID period.
Yeah, the social distancing.
The social distancing is like there. It's good for your health. And there was one thing that he mentioned. Do you remember? It's a crazy story here in Norway. 3-4 years ago, before it blew up, before they took away the registration, there was a case going all the way to the Supreme Court with a present Jehovah's Witness who was being disfellowshipped, as they call it at that time. And she said, no, I should not be disfellowshipped because I did nothing wrong. The elders accused me of adultery or whatever. I spent the night in the hotel with this man. It was so crazy. So she wanted to be reinstated. And the elder said, no, we don't believe you. You are still outcast. So she went to the court. You remember that?
Yeah.
And he mentioned that yesterday. He mentioned that case. And he said, but look now, the Jehovah's Witnesses has now reinstated her. So I think they put a pressure on the elders. Please, quick, reinstate her. Be nice to her. So they can use that case and say, it was good for her. She wanted to go back to Jehovah's Witnesses, and now they invite her back, and they're so nice to her.
They must have done it after last year's court, because she was there last year.
She was there.
Yeah.
So
I remember meeting her.
Within a year, quick, she's reinstated.
But how many years did it take to go through the justice systems, and how much internal pain did she experience because she didn't want to be disfellowshipped from everyone that she knew?
Yeah, good point.
Guessing is at least 6 years at least.
So being isolated, perhaps not in contact with her family, okay, it's good if they are changing, because with the TV shows in Iceland, what I really hope that those congregations that were mentioned in those episodes was that they would speak up publicly and say, I'm really sorry. We do not want to harm people. We do harm that people have experienced that within our group. And we will, look at it and we will change it because we do not want to harm. None of them did. All of the groups, they came in the media and they pointed at the victims and said, well, it's your fault. You are the weak one. You are, and you. And I was like, you can't win. Like, because it was a golden opportunity. And it's not about saying religious groups are bad, churches are bad. We are pointing out that there are certain behaviors, there are certain management systems or, controlling rules, etc., that have bad impact on the individual. And all of those churches, in my belief, think they are doing the right thing and they want people to feel good. So it saddened me that none of those groups took the opportunity to look inside and see, okay, is there anything that we can change?
But as you said in the beginning, if it's a group that, like any other, believes we have the truth, we are in the truth,
yes,
they see the world differently. And Jehovah's Witnesses too, they see it differently.
Mm-hmm. So,
but at least we should not, as a community, in Norway, Iceland, Denmark, we shouldn't reward them. How is Jehovah's Witnesses in Iceland rewarded? Do they get some money for?
Yes, they do. They get paid per person that is registered within.
Like in Norway?
Yes.
Yeah, it's very similar. They also get tax exceptions and stuff like that.
Okay.
They get if they want to build a new kingdom hall, they don't have to pay for the land they're building on and stuff like that.
So that must be the number one goal, like in Norway, to put a pressure on the politicians to remove that registration.
Yes, and there was a court case a few years back regarding suism. There were two guys that got convicted for not doing what they said they were going to do with a newly instated suism.
I don't understand the word suism.
Suism is like an old belief system. I can't.
Oh, it's a kind of a religion,
yes.
suicism.
Yeah.
So basically, they founded a new religious group in Iceland. Mm-hmm. They told everybody that if they would register, then they would have the tax, like individual tax, they would get it back. Mm-hmm. So thousands of people joined it. They got millions of Icelandic kronas, and they had a party for themselves.
Yes,
basically.
Yeah, and they got convicted for not being a
true religious group.
Yes.
The Jehovah's Witnesses are not having a party. Just send all the money to Luxembourg to whitewash the money and then somewhere else. You heard about that?
No, I haven't.
It's been revealed that the money from Norway and other countries also, they don't go directly to New York, to the governing body or to the watchtower. They go through Luxembourg. So follow the money, and from Luxembourg, nobody knows where it goes further.
Crazy.
It's a money $1 billion association
scheme.
We have.
Yeah.
It's a scheme. Yeah, it's all about the money. Follow the money. Finnish? No, you are from
Icelandic.
You are Icelandic. I said that joke also to Joni. I would love to say, are you Finnish? I Finnish and Finnish. But did we cover more or less what you thought would be nice to have? Or is that something you're burning to say?
Well, we can talk about this for, days, but I don't, we don't have times for
But we don't want to tire the listeners.
Of course not.
And I need a beer.
You need a beer.
I need something to eat.
We're going to karaoke this evening.
We are going to karaoke.
Yes.
And be prepared, I'm a very good singer.
Awesome.
Yeah.
You'll
bring my
be the
earplugs.
first one.
I only want to sing karaoke if you guys will do it.
Yeah, we all.
I don't want to embarrass myself alone.
No.
No,
But
okay.
because we are not a high control group of people, we do make the command, the demand that everyone will sing. If you don't sing, then you're not allowed to come.
And then you're not a part of the group, and then we disassociate you.
Yes.
No,
And then you can feel ashamed of yourself. And
And we can make fun of this like in a karaoke way, but it's a ridiculous example of how high control manifests.
it's a good way to keep the members inside. Oh, there's a sheep want to get out. Consequences.
Yes.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you.
here.
thank you for
And
having
see
me.
you at the karaoke bar.
Awesome.